Hi, my name's Beck and I will be presenting this video on the use of ICT in the science classroom. The purpose of this video is to introduce and discuss the use of information communication technologies in the secondary science classroom. I will be using 3 different resources to help me with this video: a scholarly article, a website, and a video. For each of the resources I will provide a summary, and at the end of the video I will provide some recommendations. So let's get started. The first resource I will be discussing is an article called "Does ICT in Science Really Work in the Classroom?" This article was written by Rogers and Finlayson in 2003. This article focuses on real classroom situations and those approaches that teachers have found to be the most successful. It also focuses mostly on software use. In the article, software use has been broadly split into 6 different categories. These are information gathering, which is things like using the internet and search engines to find what you're looking for; practical work using sensors and data logging software; simulations to help explain or enhance understanding, such as building your own DNA molecule; data handling, which is using spreadsheets and graphing software to analyse data; the use of mathematical models to explore relationships and predict and test theories; and communication, including word processing, website authoring, and even making videos like these. All of these technologies have advantages and disadvantages to their use in the classroom. I will discuss more in depth those that are talked about in the article now. Starting with information gathering, some of the advantages might be giving students control of how they search and what they search for. The fact that students already have knowledge of a lot of the things that they're using is also a great advantage. Having access to large amounts of information via the internet is also a really important advantage of using these technologies in the classroom. Disadvantages are things like the vast amount of information available sometimes makes it hard to pinpoint exactly what you're looking for. Teachers also often need really careful planning in order to make sure the websites their students are visiting are appropriate in terms of context and language use and level. There also needs to be careful planning in order to make sure that you are meeting your lesson objectives. Next up is data logging. Advantages for data logging include accuracy and reliability of your results, the quality of results that you achieve, and the labour-saving aspects of having something do the recording for you. There were a few disadvantages mentioned for data logging. The article did bring up the cost and availability as a disadvantage, as a lot of schools will not have a class set. Because of this, a lot of the time the data logging that was used in the study was often restricted to demonstrations by the teacher. Simulations were the most favourably looked upon by all of the teachers in the study, with 95% of them saying that they successfully achieved their lesson objectives using these methods. Advantages listed include stimulating thought, clarifying ideas, efficient use of time, and increased student motivation. Disadvantages again were few, but included things like not being able to develop students' sense of safety, and the fact that these are more amplifiers of lab activities and not substitutes for the lab activities themselves. Spreadsheets are one thing that most of us are aware of and can have great advantages in the classroom context. Pupils of all abilities can use them. The program does all of the hard work, giving students space to think. And of course, the accuracy and reliability of results is always an advantage. Disadvantages were not mentioned much in this article, but I can imagine that some of them might be boredom from the students. And since most of the lessons were done with pre-populated data, it would take some time from the teacher to either find these spreadsheets or to develop them themselves. Finally, modelling activities are discussed. They are said to be successful in engaging students' commitment, they're good at building confidence, and developing the ability to work independently and at your own pace. Unlike some of the other technologies, however, teachers pointed out the need to train students in the use of these, and to make explicit the links between the model and reality. All up, this article is very helpful in pointing out the strengths and limitations of working with various ICTs in the science classroom, pointing out that it engages the students and the knowledge of ICT, and also provides a little bit of extra time to enable discussion and discovery. As long as there is a clear learning purpose to the activity, teachers and students both seem to react positively. The second resource I have found is a website titled ICT in Science Education. This site is specifically marketed towards science teachers and aims to give them the information and resources to effectively integrate ICT into their classrooms. The page includes a side menu, a tag cloud, and an alphabetical menu as a means of navigation around the site. The links that I investigated all seemed to work, but some of them lacked a good amount of content. I was often unable to tell if a link would take me to a different area of the site or to a different site entirely. The better areas on the site have multiple links and are often split into the different science disciplines. having examples for biology, chemistry and the earth sciences. This website is a valuable source of information, with most areas having multiple links to resources. As I browse the site though, I can't help but feel that some of the navigation needs a little bit of work, and the presentation of the site itself could be updated. That being said, this was one of the only websites I could find that had information specifically targeted to teachers and using ICT in the science classroom. Finally, my last resource was a TED Talk entitled "Can Technology Change Education? Yes!" This video is not about using ICT specifically in science, but it does bring up a lot of good points about integrating ICT more effectively into classrooms. There are 3 main points in the video, each of which is illustrated by an example, and which are presented as myths or mistakes to be overcome. The first myth to be addressed is the idea that big ideas need big budgets. Many schools are able to provide, with the help of parents, a computer or device for each child. But for many others, this is completely out of reach. Raj Dhingra uses Apollo 13 as an example here, to point out that sometimes even big budgets can't help. He then goes on to talk about the case of a travelling computer van in Turkey, which is able to give more access to students while also being a cheaper way to operate. They do this by having multiple monitors running from the one system. Students are still able to work at their own pace and individually, but the costs are significantly reduced. The second myth to bust is that we already have enough technology in our schools. Most schools have a computer lab and maybe 1 or 2 computers in the classroom itself, so why do we need more? He goes on to address this issue by talking about how technology helps in classrooms, by helping with student-centered learning and promoting higher engagement and more collaboration. He also talks about how this allows the teachers to adapt and be able to more easily differentiate learning for all students in the classroom. The last mistake many often make, Raj refers to as the hunger for tech candy. This is the thinking that the most recent is obviously the best, and is often seen in things like the latest iPhone. This thinking, however, often makes technology seem insurmountably expensive and keeps helpful technology from reaching as many as it can. All in all, this video is a good presentation on what we can do to encourage more technology use for our students and the benefits that this can bring. The 3 resources I have chosen, put together, show a fairly good spread of the what and the why of ICT in the science classroom. The article is able to show the experiences of real teachers and offer suggestions. The website is able to give multiple resources to teachers wishing to integrate ICT more fully into their classrooms. And the video tells us that it can and should be done, and without destroying budgets. My recommendation would be for teachers to learn as much as they can about ICT. Often we can feel like our students know more than us about these technologies, but they may not know how to use them to learn effectively. So spend those few extra minutes thinking about the purpose and direction of the ICT use, and you will be rewarded with genuine learning and discovery. Thank you for watching.